All right, well, we want to get more from Winnipeg. Mike McIntyre is the Jets beat writer, and for the Winnipeg Free Press joins us now with more on this breaking story. And Mike, it really came as quite a surprise to those of us outside of Winnipeg to hear that Mo was resigning. Were you also surprised by the news, or was there a sense that things were headed in this direction?
Yeah, I think if I was surprised, it was at the timing that it happened. The Jets have only played one game here in the last 6 days. And so you'd think that if there was going to be a change, maybe it happens on an off day, not the morning of a game as it transpired today. But I think there was a sense that, change was in the air. The Jets only have 4 wins in their last dozen games. They're really scuffling, and their performance on Tuesday night against Buffalo, they were booed off the ice by a crowd, or what was left of a crowd, that was 2,000 under capacity to start. And I think that was a signal that the status quo wasn't going to suffice. And, I was listening to a bit of your guys' discussion. I think there's a little bit more to this story here. I think, and I asked Kevin Cheveldayoff earlier today, is this a situation where we'll allow you to resign before we fire you? And he didn't discount that suggestion. And I think this is one of those scenarios where the writing was on the wall. All parties sort of saw this situation for what it was. And they allowed Paul Maurice to kind of go out on his own terms here. But that being said, I suspect that there was going to be a change happening one way or the other.
Got it. And with Dave Lowry now taking over for Maurice, what do you expect out of him as interim head coach? How will the message be different?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just down at Canada Life Center here, so they're playing with the lighting. So I apologize for the change. Of course, there's a game here in a couple hours, and we just were introduced to Dave Lowry here, or reintroduced. We got to know him as the assistant, introduced as the head coach here a few moments ago. He spoke, and I don't think you're going to see anything fundamentally change with the Jets kind of right off the hop here. As he said, we've only had one morning skate. The Jets will go with the lines that they had yesterday at practice, which Paul Maurice had shuffled around. And so I think it will take some time to see how he might differ in his approach. It is interesting, though, of course, because unlike, say, a Vancouver situation where you're bringing someone in completely from outside to kind of come in and give that new voice, Dave Lowry's been in the room. And, of course, he also has a son on the team, and that's a unique situation, isn't it? So I think it's going to be where some patience is required to kind of see what he does. But certainly from what we know of Dave Lowry, he's a straight shooter. There's no gray area. He's black and white. And one of the things the players themselves talked about today is the need to maybe get out of their comfort zone. Maybe things had just become a little too comfortable in Winnipeg. And a part of that was because Paul Maurice had been here so long. That loyalty maybe only goes so far. And so maybe Dave Lowry will challenge some of these players, especially as you've talked about, some that are underperforming, to get a bit uncomfortable. And perhaps that can spur the Jets on here.
Yeah, because the Jets are still within reach of a playoff spot if they can start to go on some sort of a good run here. So what do you think they need to change first and foremost if they do want to make it to the postseason?
Well, special teams have really been the Achilles heel of the Jets all season. The power play is not going very well at all. And the penalty kill has been an absolute disaster pretty much from day one. Until they get that sorted out, 5-on-5, I think the Jets' play has been, for most nights, what you'd expect. They dominate at times 5-on-5. They have a lot of talent up front. They tend to outshoot teams. They don't spend as much time in their own end, and they do get pretty good goaltending from Connor Hellebuyck. But special teams, in a league where the margin between victory and failure is often so thin, when you're routinely losing the special teams battle as they are, that puts you in a real hole. And so, that's something obviously Dave Lowry will have to find, whether it's different personnel or different systems. What Paul Maurice was doing just had not been working, and it really was killing the Jets.
Well, thanks so much for your time and your insight. Mike McIntyre from Winnipeg on a busy news day up there. Thanks, Mike.